Hmm. Hello, Sparkus 214 here. Today I want to talk a little bit about operating systems and which one is the best for, you know, certain use. Now, I want to say that even though there's a lot of controversy over Windows 8, I mean, it is a big upgrade in some ways to Windows 7, and that's mainly for gaming. It uses less than half the resources that Windows 7 uses to run background processes, which affects gaming a lot. And I've used the Acer Spire One Feather with Windows 8, which is basically it's like the Surface. It's something that's trying to compete with the tablet industry. Basically, it's a HD laptop at the price of a normal laptop at a sacrifice of price, and it comes with the second generation Celeron dual core or basic dual core. But anyway, it's a pretty powerful computer for its size and price. But anyway, if you're a gamer, I'd strongly recommend Windows 8 no matter what kind of computer you have. I mean, even if it's a crappy computer, Windows 8 will give you some cutting edge gaming. But I recommend nothing older than a Pentium D. But and now Windows XP is something that a lot of people are still holding on to. Now, I feel strongly that these people, just haven't tried newer operating systems or they don't have the right hardware because I can see your point with Windows 8. With Windows 7, there's no really argument to be made. I mean, it has the security features of Windows Vista. Now, I want to talk about, you know, something that a lot of people misinterpret. And the major advantage, when Windows Vista first came out, even though it was really, how should I say, bulky, it's still, I feel it's a huge upgrade to XP because of the security. Now, I know you can just put programs on your Windows XP computer and have the best security ever, but the thing is that your operating system is still vulnerable in terms of Windows XP, no matter what kind of program you have, because there's this thing called Active Guard, which is something that will actively scan things, and if a virus attacks you, it will actively try to destroy the virus. Now, you can use this on Windows XP, but it's not nearly as effective as, say, Windows 7 or Windows 8, because the security of Windows XP, even if you put programs that are some of the best in the world, it's still, the operating itself, the framework is still vulnerable. And, what advantage what advantage that Windows 8 has over Windows 7 and Windows Vista and Windows XP is that, say, if the battery were to die and then you plug it in and you turn it back on, it doesn't have to completely reboot. It actually puts itself to a hibernated state, which which in turn protects the computer because when your computer is most vulnerable is when you are doing a restart after a crash because that's when the virus has the opportunity to attach itself to your memory dump and then attempt to attack the root files of your operating system while it's setting up because things like the virus, like the active guard on a virus program can't work during startup. I mean, the computer has to be already to its idle point before virus software is active, no matter how good the virus software is. So by being able to use hibernation mode, Windows 8 truly has the advantage in virus protection. Now, I'm gonna say that Windows XP isn't bad, but you know it's good for beginners. But if you're running a business, Windows 7 is just the superior option because it has the security advantages. Now, like I said, you know, a lot of you might say, well, I can just download a program to have better security on Windows XP. Well, I'm telling you that the operating system, the it's still vulnerable itself. So even if you have, you could have the best, you know, virus protection and firewall in the world and have the, you know, you can have very secure internet security, but the thing is, regardless of what program you have using Windows XP, you are still vulnerable because the operating system is still vulnerable because of, it's a lot easier to crack than say Windows Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8. Now, I want to say that Windows Vista and Windows 7 are practically the exact same thing. It's just Windows 7 has been modified to where it's not as bulky and it has better networking features. So if you're running a business, Windows 7 has everything you need. It has, you know, it has a lighter weight feel than Windows Vista. It's not as, you know, efficient as Windows 8 by any means, but it's still, it feels very fluent. It has excellent networking features. I mean, excellent networking features such as, um, the HOC connection is where you connect computers together through Wi-Fi from a personal network that you set up from your computer, which Windows 8 you can't do, unfortunately. Windows 8 has something called Home Group, which it makes a connection, through a Wi-Fi connection that you use to access internet. But HOC is different because you're not connecting through the connection that you use to access internet. You're making your own personal connection on your computer, your own separate connection. Now, and Windows 7, it has Windows 8. Not Windows 8. Sorry, Windows 7 has Windows XP mode, which will allow you to run any Windows XP program. Windows 8, however, has zero support for Windows XP, limited support for Windows 7. So Windows 8 can be very great, but you gotta be willing just to accept it, and you have to leave the past behind you. You have to just, it's something that's for advanced users because it's not easy to use, and it's something made mostly for gaming. So if you're running a business, stay on Windows 7. All right, now let's talk about some open source operating systems. Now I'm saying Windows 7 is worth the price. Even if you gotta pay like $100, I would buy it. But there, as far as things like Linux go, I've heard Linux Lisa is one of the best because you don't have to learn shell commands to run Windows programs. And it's a whole different story if you have a laptop because for one thing, if you have a Windows 8 laptop, I would recommend not trying to put anything else on it except for upgrading to a future version of Windows in the future because Windows 8 computer is not built like other computers, and I'm not even going to get into the crap. The limited support of operating systems the laptop has. Now, as far as old computers go, I say Puppy Linux is a better choice. Um, Stacko Puppy is the best. Racy, if you have like a relatively new computer, like saying running like like a anything that has like a dual core, as long as it's a Intel dual core, I would recommend Racy Puppy. Um, you're running something like a Pentium 4, I recommend Stack Overflappy, and anything before that is Worry. Um, yeah, the music playing is Raging Thunder, and I have it playing because I thought it would be nice background music, more interesting. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I mean, there were no wrong answers for operating systems, but people, if you're using Windows XP, I would, you're entitled to your opinion, but please don't narc on Windows 7 because, as far as I can see, there's no issues to really complain about. And as far as Windows 8 goes, I know that now a lot of people were bitching about Start Menu, but and I know that 8.1 has somewhat of a Start Menu, but see that's the problem right there because just because something doesn't have a certain feature doesn't make it bad. You can to judge something fairly, you judge it on what it does rather than what it can't or what it won't do. And besides that, if you're really educated about Windows 8, you know that there is a start menu, like a regular start menu, just like Windows 7, built into it. It's just you have to go into command prompt to activate it. But the home screen is somewhat of a start menu. But you can either upgrade to Windows 8.1, but I have to warn you that it is a little, you know, unpleasantly complex to make an MSN account, so you will have to. It takes about a day to get it verified. So, and to upgrade to Windows 8.1, you need a MSN account and you upgrade from the App Store, which I haven't done yet, but I will soon. But anyway, guys, the other option for Windows 8, if you don't want to make an MSN account, is to download a third-party start menu. Just you can look it up on the internet. I'm not sure what the best one to use is, but I heard of one called Start 8. But yeah, I hope you guys, you know, I hope you just stay open-minded about operating systems and judge something by what it does and what it doesn't do. Because you know, last thing I want to say about Windows 8 is that it's classified as a hybrid kernel, which means it is not a direct upgrade to Windows 7. Okay, so I mean, if you're going to use Windows 8 and you're going to hold it to any sort of standard to like Windows 7 or anything before that or anything else, you're just going to disappoint yourself. So just before you start, narking on Windows 8 or Windows 7, just realize that, you know, realize that just because something is different or it doesn't do a certain thing doesn't make it bad. But I hope you guys have found this a little bit helpful. You know, I'm gonna be doing some more videos on different stuff later. So this is Spartacus 214, and I will see you guys later.